Good evening to anybody who's watching us tonight. We are going to be chatting about a book that I had never heard of actually, which did you hear about it on Instagram?
This is a major Instagram book, but I think very American, Sophie, because I, post reading this amazing book, have spoken to a few friends who have literally never heard of it. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. It's absolutely brilliant.
I mean, now that we've spoken about it, I think you thought you weren't sure if I'd like it.
I was worried.
But I have to tell you, I thought it was fantastic. I think I was messaging you sort of every 10 minutes as I was reading, being like, this is the best book ever. This is a story about an actress, Evelyn Hugo, here in this beautiful green number, who is now in her late 70s. She is the Hollywood glamour icon. I read that she's based on Elizabeth Taylor.
Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's true, but that is who I had in my mind. She is Elizabeth Taylor, that starlet that every man wanted to be with and that every girl wanted to be, and
stunning in every way, and has married 7 times. And this is the story of her reaching out to a young journalist and wanting to basically tell her life story. Now, there is a big reason for this. We were discussing earlier, there are actually 2 massive twists in this book. You have the first one, boom, and then another one later on, neither of which I could actually guess. And I was really gripped from beginning to end, not only in terms of what's going to happen, but also just the whole world, the glamour of Hollywood, old Hollywood, and what life was like then. I was completely mesmerized.
It's so captivating. I think what she does astoundingly, Taylor Reid. What's the author's name, Sophie? It's Taylor
Jenkins Reid.
Taylor Jenkins Reid. I apologise, Taylor Jenkins Reid. What she does beautifully is on the cover, it's the title, The Seven Husbands. So every chapter, anyone that hasn't read this, has, in essence, has an illustrative moniker, like describing the next husband as she goes through. So you know that this woman is going to get married 7 times, but you want to know why.
Of them, like, goddamn John Adler. There's something about each one, so you get an indicator of, what may happen, essentially. Poor Ernie Diaz.
I think that's so clever, though, because, and that's a real testament to her writing ability, that you have, first of all, the different perspectives. You have from Monique, the journalist's perspective, and then you have the acerbic wit of Evelyn Hugo as your narrator, which I really bought. I thought was facts of reality. And then you've also got the blogs and the newspaper articles, which kind of corroborate what she's going to say, but from the media's perspective. Yeah.
I love that media angle. I think the media angle is really clever because it's the media at the time when Evelyn was younger, portraying what they saw Evelyn's life to be like, but you realise that it's all sort of tabloid fodder, and you think, what would someone like Evelyn's life have been like today in a world of social media as opposed to just print. For me, although this was very much a kind of immersive, in many ways fun book, parts of it,
definitely,
it also did touch on pretty serious themes. We won't go into all of them because we don't want to spoil it for you, but one main area is the treatment of women in Hollywood, which was woven throughout, like what was expected of women, what women had to do to get into certain roles, how women were treated, how women were perceived in this world.
but it's back in the 50s and 60s, so it's, you know, exemplified. I mean, I picked up on that, by the way, when you talked about social media. I was thinking about like the Daily Mail gossip column for all of our British viewers, you know, which is basically a column that talks about what someone wore on the street when they stepped outside of their house for 5 seconds. And I was thinking, how would Evelyn and Hugo have dealt with how intrusive the media is now, and how many platforms, and what the studios expect of their actresses, because obviously, you know, she's expected to change everything about who she is from her surname. She doesn't want to speak Spanish because she's told, no, leave that all behind. You are our all-American blonde girl. You have to dye your hair. And actually, that kind of still happens. You know, there are stories about young actresses being told by studios, don't post about that on Instagram. We don't want to offend anyone. We want to be neutral, and how they have to hide themselves. And it also made me think of how much has been fabricated by studios when all of that stuff is going on, and then you see the media picking up on everything that they're trying to plot. And I'm thinking, Brad and Jen, who is this? Like,
no,
it was brilliant.
There's that whole side of it, and here you see it so clearly, how the press talk about Evelyn's marriages each time, and actually what you'll see from each marriage, like there's such a lack of reality, the difference between what is going on and what is being portrayed each time for different reasons. I mean, it's just, there's a huge disparity. And I think that, you know, it really makes you think about, you know, the Daily Mail, etc., but like what it is to be in Hollywood, what life is like, and actually, as well as the kind of, I guess in some ways, the freedom that can come with having that wealth that Evelyn accrued, but also the restrictions incumbent upon her for reasons that you'll see when you read, that, you know, she can't be herself, we'll say, and there were lots of things about her life that she couldn't really have known for various reasons, and what she has to do to sort of, I guess, make sure she's doing what she needs to do to support things that are close to her heart, but under the radar, if that makes sense. You'll see when you read it.
It's the cost of fame. That's what it really highlighted for me. That, you know, you're attaining this level, and then you think, but now I'm so fettered by that, and how she at the end starts thinking about what that's cost her and what she would have done differently.
No, but who is she? I mean, when she's talking about, she's so determined that Monique must portray her as she really is, because no one really knows her. Like, who was Evelyn Hugo? Like, we don't really know. And she's so...
But she does have friendships that are... And I think this book is also a testament to those incredibly strong, like, friendships that become family, that kind of guide and crafted her life. And it made me think about my friendships. And I also think it spoke at a greatly deep level at some points about... in the 50s and 60s, what it took to get ahead as a woman, and how she was very honest about the times that she was a manipulator, and when she used her sexuality, and when she used, you know, how attractive she was to her own benefit. And I also found very inspiring, and not to say that in a cliche way, she loses everything at points, and how she climbs back up, and how she is so determined.
And she always knows she can. She's like, I've done it before, I can do it again. And actually, she's hugely flawed, as we all are, but she knows it, and she's okay with it, and I really like her for it. She's not necessarily like an obviously likable character in some way, but I actually have a lot of respect for her as a character. I kept thinking, go on, Evelyn, you know, I liked her a lot.
You attach yourself. I think this is such a well-crafted book, and it's an easy read with very serious themes at times, but there's always this humour and this glam that
it's
it
feels
like
for a holiday. I kept saying it to you as well. Like, I could actually visualise myself reading this on a beach, but it really is the ideal book to be read on holiday. But read it in your house, because that's where we're going to be reading for the next while.
But you do feel totally immersed. It was a total escapism for me. Like, I did not see what was going around me. Like, I was in this book. I'm all in. And It was just brilliant. It made me think about the world as it is now. It made me think about the world back then. It made me think about the sacrifices that people have made, what it means to have children, what it means to get ahead in life. So it's quite thought-provoking in a really clever way.
It. There isn't really anyone who I'd hesitate to recommend it to, because I can't see how you wouldn't enjoy reading it.
No, it's great. Thumbs up from the Bibliophiles, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Enjoy.
Enjoy.